Hello, young artists. It's Mr. Moen with your Cartoon Club. This is for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Lesson number 20. It's called The Painting Party. Last week, we saw Sylvie teaching Eugene how to paint properly. Let's look at our display panel here for a moment. And here she is, working on his little rumpled cardboard cottage, painting away, filling in a nice big spot of paint on his house. Here, of course, are Eugene's efforts. And she's saying, just paint in one spot until it's done. Then paint the next one. Well, we'll go ahead now and show them painting together on his house. That's why it's called the painting party, because Eugene is now feeling quite content. Now here's a rough draft of what we're going to do. And I wanted you to see this because you need to know that we build our skills over time. And by now, if you've been doing these lessons and practicing them at home and drawing Eugene and Sylvie for fun in the little cottage, your confidence should be building. Now, I don't want you to expect to draw like me, okay? I've been drawing for a long time now, and I have a confident hand. I'm not worried about getting the line in the right place or getting the form to be right. Those concepts are very familiar to me now. They're firsthand. And you're still working at remembering them or correcting a lot, and that's all right. If your drawings are a little bit smudgy, that's okay. Our basic idea is to build our skills and to know that we have them, to know that we know. And what we're doing is relevant to any kind of cartooning and actually to any kind of drawing. So I want to encourage you, and I want you to feel okay about maybe the style of line you have. I just want you to grasp these concepts, okay? Now let's think a little bit about our first thought. What is our first thought when we draw? Composition. Where to put things. Now we've got two phrases. We've got, Sylvie, you saved me. That's coming from Eugene, of course, who's over here on this side of the house. And here is Sylvie on the other side of the house. We have a phrase above and we have a phrase below. The phrase below reads, so the two friends worked together all day. And as we look at his little cardboard house, we can see the paint is starting to fill up the walls. All right? So we'll put Eugene over here. He's in a new gesture, isn't he? A new movement. And here's Sylvie over here. We're pretty familiar with her, what she's doing. Yeah, I just noticed something. You see my Eugene here? Doesn't he look a little bit like a rabbit? I forgot to put on the antennas. That happens a lot when I do Mickey Mouse. I forget to put on his tail. Well, okay. So here we go. Get out your paper, get out your pencil, get out your eraser. You might want to draw with light lines and then trace over your good lines at the end after the lesson is over. I think that's a really good habit to develop. We have a phrase up here. Sylvie, you saved me. And down here, so the two friends painted together all day. So we have kind of this middle space here for our drawing. And we're going to have the little house here. And you've got to leave room for Eugene and for Sylvie. I'm going to leave a little more room for Eugene over here because this is really about his crisis, his terrible dilemma. Now, let's put the little house in first, and we'll do it with some simple perspective. Okay, we're going to put the house here. And we'll begin with the roof, because the roof is going to be right under the phrase that is here. And we'll draw the little house on a diagonal. Remember to use this kind of crumpled line, okay? It's a little cardboard house. It kind of looks like a little tent right now, doesn't it? Leave this open. Now we'll draw our wall. We're actually drawing a rectangle, aren't we? A rectangular solid. A kind of a block. I really love these kind of lines. They're so much more interesting in a way than straight lines. We'll put that little roof right there. Now, we're going to have Sylvie over here. We'll have Eugene here. Let's go ahead and do Sylvie. We'll put in the doors and the windows later. But it's important that we get in this feeling of them painting on the house. Okay, so I'm going to put her here. There's her little stomach and the beginning of her tail. And then she's going to be painting, holding that brush in her mouth. So we've got this overlap and her very large nose. Now you might notice that the house looks a little bit small in my picture. That's okay. Leave that. There's the beginning of her shell, and her shell goes around, and around, and around, and around, and her tail disappears behind her shell. And here's the handle of the paintbrush. And the rest of it. And she's concentrating on that wall. See her looking at that wall? Look how simple that is. And how effective we can be with the simplest of things. Cartooning is really an invention that came about over the last 150 years. It began with something that we call caricature, which emphasized details about people's faces. And in America, it turned into animals. Animals that do human things. I'm going to make the handle of this black. Make the ferrule a little bigger, a little more rectangular. Add a few more hairs. Now we have a diagonal here, and Sylvie's on a diagonal, and she's reaching up slightly, painting on the wall. We'll put on the paint later. Don't do any painting yet. I'm making a correction here, aren't I? That house was a little too small. Now here's the neat thing. We have this action this way, and then we have the corner of the house going this way. So what do you think I'm going to do with Eugene over here? Well, he's going to have a gesture that goes this way. I'm going to make a gesture line. You don't need to do this unless you want to. So we're going to have kind of this flow, this rocking flow. Now I'm going to take that out. His head is going to be here. His body is going to be curving up this way. And then his arms are going to be reaching out. He's actually going to be maybe on his knees. Be sure to get that curve. We want to have that action like that. Get his tail going up. So we have a tail going up here, and we have a tail going up there. I'm going to make his head bigger. And I think turned up a little bit more. Okay. Now, what do you think I should do next on Eugene? The face or the arms and legs? What's the most important thing? Well, it's the arms and legs, isn't it? It's the action. So here comes the nearby arm. I'm not sure we need the other faraway arm. And we're going to do this now. See how I'm putting him on the ground? He's kneeling on the ground. And I've got room for a wing going back. A wing that looks like a wing and not a rabbit's ear. And we'll put another wing sneaking out from behind here. And he is a happy painter now. See how I corrected the overlaps? You see that? Now, I think I can fit in his other arm here. Yeah, there we go. Now this grasshopper can paint with two arms at once, if he wants to. But we're just going to give him one paintbrush. This one will be an expression of happiness. Don't leave these out. Now we'll put a little bit of architectural detail here. Normally there's a door here. We're going to leave that out. And we want to put a little diagonal line here. Now comes my favorite part, which is adding the kind of textures that enliven a drawing like this. Put a little shadow here. Give Sylvie her little beautiful little curving pattern on her shell. You know, if you have any seashells around the house, they're a real challenge to draw, and I'd encourage you to do it. And a little shadow under Eugene.
Maybe they're working on the back of the house.
Yeah, I think they are. I think they're working on the back side of the house. That might be Eugene's bedroom window. See how we put them on the ground? Isn't that simple? So effective. Some shine in the window. Little tiny window here. I can't resist it. Oh, that's so cute. Now, we've been waiting all this time to put on the paint, haven't we? Well, here we go. And remember, we want to see a bit of Eugene's mistakes. So we're going to put his problems here. Where he hops too much and never finishes one spot. We'll put a few here. And then we're going to give Sylvie and Eugene a nice solid patch of paint. Be sure to show those hairs of paintbrushes. Don't go over them, okay? And go up to the forms, but not right at them. Go around them. Leave a little bit of space there. Don't hide the brush. Don't hide the animal. And here's Eugene, at last. Doing a nice job. See how I make little adjustments here and there? You might have adjustments to make too. You don't have to follow every line I make. I make too many lines. You can't follow me fast enough, but you have your own lines, your own ideas that you can add to this story picture. Okay, so here we have this nice action. The house is coming towards us. We have our two characters. All we need now are the phrases. No cartoon bubbles, please. I think it ruins the drawing. When you're older, if you want to do that, I think that's fine. But right now, let's leave those out. Sylvie, you, and we'll do the next word in caps. Saved me. It's looking like a real storybook picture, isn't it? Now, why is that? Because it is. We're not pretending here. We're making a real cartoon book, kids. So, the two friends work together all day. Oh, that's a terrible W. And we'll put together here, and then we'll put all day down here. Worked together. Oh, that's working out really well. All day. Well, there we go, kids. That's our almost last drawing. We have two more to do after this. On the next drawing, they're going to be celebrating the completed paint job, and then the day after that, guess who arrives at Eugene's door? There's Mama for Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, well, you know what I'm going to say now. Please try to draw for 10 minutes a day for your own fun and use the ideas that we're working on and trying to understand and include in our skills. The big idea that's kind of new today was to bring a unity to the action of the figures. You see, here's Eugene on his knees painting, and that's a gesture, right? Here's Sylvie reaching up to paint the wall. That's a gesture. But the whole picture can have a gesture. It's like this, all the way across. And artists use those things to make a picture make sense and make it feel whole. So that's an important idea. And by now, I think we're pretty used to putting the arms and legs near and far on our grasshopper and drawing our cute little snail and creating an overall composition with words that fit comfortably on the page and just saying the things that need to be said. Okay, so kids, practice, practice, and be safe. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye for now.